What's up, Rushers? Michael here, back on the channel. Today we are doing a deep dive into chapter 19. First, I'll walk you through the most effective formations tailored from free to play, low spenders to high spenders and whales, ensuring you get the most out of these formations. Then we'll break down the best cards to prioritize and how they can boost your gameplay. After that, I'll show you exactly how to conquer every single stage in chapter 19 with strategies and tips to overcome any challenges. To make it easy, this video is fully timestamped so you can jump straight to the specific stages you are finding difficult. Without further ado, let's jump straight into chapter 19. Quickly covering the formation you want to use in chapter 19. Now for me, as a high spender to a whale, I was able to use Jeanne, Cassandra, Lima, Artemel, Rena, Sabrina, Charlotte, Grojen, Melissa paired with the new unit Annabelle to fully auto chapter 19. However, I know majority of you aren't high spenders to whales, so I have came up with a more free to play to low spender friendly formation for you to dominate chapter 19. This formation yet again covers Cassandra, Charlotte, Artemel, Jeanne, now with the addition of Rigel, Sabrina, Grojen, Melissa, Lima, and now Celestia. The two tech picks that I have in this formation, one of the tech selections is Rigel. He will remove all of the buffs from the bosses and mobs that come out of all the portals, along with Celestia offering more accuracy. So if you're struggling to hit the targets, Celestia is here to help you up your accuracy. So now that we know what formation to use, let's quickly touch on the cards. The ones I love to prioritize are definitely Surface Blast and Frozen Arrows, along with Crystal Spear, pairing this with Draconic Charge, along with Hiss, and finally Web Mine. For this chapter, you want to use the Meteor Impact as your support skill. This will do 3100% of a team attack as damage, and will also cast a stun and burn effect for 5 seconds, so this is by far the best support skill to use. So let's not waste any more time and jump into the first stage. Alrighty, let's jump straight into the first stage of chapter 19. Really like these positions with the characters here, having Melissa on the top right, paired with Artemel on the left, along with Jeanne and Rigel also at the top right, making sure he is stripping all of the buffs and removing the buffs as you just saw on that big monster that just came out on the right portal. But yet again, this will be very easy for me. Don't worry if you don't have high investments with these heroes. They still will do a fantastic job if you have great RNG with your cards. So keep trying, never give up in here because there's so many great rewards that you don't want to miss out on. Now, if you're just starting out as well, you can change the speed as you see on the top left to make the characters or mobs go slower. But for this example, I want to go for ×3. And as I said before, make sure this card selection is turned off so you can make decisions on your own. Don't rely on the AI. You always want to make decisions on the cards because most of the times they will pick the wrong cards and it could absolutely ruin your run. Hiss here, taking us home. They're barely getting through the portals. Even at the ×3 speed, we'll go for Hiss yet again, making sure they are getting taken down as fast as possible. Nearly done with this first stage, making sure when the boss comes out, we are ready for him to drop our skills. There he is, drop the skills on him, and there is stage 1. Moving on to stage 2, I really like this map. Always want to have Melissa here, Rigel stripping the buffs along with Jan cleaning, or even Artemel paired with the two rangers inside the middle there, Lima and Sabrina. Basically the cleanup crew if they manage to get past the first instance here. But as you can see, Melissa is going crazy at the front line. Rigel is there to strip the buffs if they manage to get past Melissa. Want to go with Crystal Spear, please, I can't stress this enough, pick the right cards. Maybe you can get an idea with what type of cards I'm picking if you don't get the ones I mentioned at the start of of the video. But crushing through stage 2 at the moment. They're barely getting through the first instance here. Melissa cleaning up. Now they are a little bit with Rajal slowing them down, of course. And if they get past Rajal, we have Jiyan and Artemel to clean up. Surface Blast will help a ton here, especially if you're at a higher time speed, making sure these mobs coming out of both portals now are getting down very fast. And like you see with the damage here, very strong, especially with Melissa. If you have her highly invested in, she will do a ton of damage in here. Surface Blast is maxed, which is a very good sign that you can beat this stage. And one more wave until the boss comes out. There's so many mobs to take out within chapter 19, so please keep that in mind. This might take you a couple of tries, but make sure you're ready for the boss. Put the skills on him, and there is stage 2. Alrighty, moving to stage 3. Really like the positioning here, making sure you have Melissa and Rajal at the front. Rajal stripping all of the buffs from the mobs that come out of the portals. Going with Hiss here. Hiss is such a great card to go for. Draconic Charge as well. Obviously they come out in those columns, so Draconic Charge will be doing as much damage as possible. Surface Blast here as well, helping the overall damage. Already on wave 3. Hiss yet again, dealing as much damage as possible. If they manage to get past, we all obviously have Sabrina, Cassandra, Lima to clean up. If they get past them, we have Artemel, because they will go around in a circle around him and he'll be able to do as much DPS as possible. Having him back there, obviously attack increases over time with Artemel, so having him here makes him very strong. Surface Blast, yet again, just getting through this as fast as possible. Surface Blast will be making that. As you see, yet again, we got Surface Blast, making sure you're peeking that. And already on what? Stage 6. 2 more waves to go until stage 3 is done. Now, if you are struggling, remember, restart if you get very bad RNG with the cars, because like I said, cars play a massive factor. Hiss, yet again, just making sure we are clearing this, making sure you're hovering your skill over the boss. Make sure, deploy the skills, and there you go for stage 3. Moving to stage 4, this should be a pretty easy stage to beat, because they will only come from the top left area here out of those 2 portals, and Melissa shouldn't be able to take them out very easy, paired with Jiyan and Artemel here. If they get past, obviously we have the firepower to take anything that comes out of those portals, making sure you're prioritizing the top cars that we discussed at the start of the video. Frozen Arrows will help a ton in this stage, but like we mentioned before, if you have the right placements, the right cards, you should be able to tackle chapter 19 very easily. We'll go for Blue Lightning here just for the stun at the very start, making sure our melee troops are getting the maximum value possible, making sure they're dealing as much damage as you see with Melissa. I'm actually curious about her damage. Look at that, 15G power already, and we're already past halfway thanks to Melissa. She is the MVP for tower defense. That's why you see with the stages that we've already discussed, Melissa will always be at the front line. Even stages past this one, she will always be there, being the sole carry of the team. But go with Web Mine, installing 3 web mines now, making this stage very easy to take out. Frozen Arrows just for more comfort. Like I mentioned again, make sure you're ready for the boss. Deploy it as soon as possible. Melissa should be able to take that out. And there you go for stage 4, already done. Alrighty, moving on to stage 5. Going with a little bit of a different strategy for this one, having our ranged units a bit higher on the front lines here rather than our melee troops, just so we can get through this a bit faster. So once they spawn in, we don't have to rely on the units getting into our melee range so they can target them. But like we mentioned here, our range units are going insanely crazy on the front line there. And as you can see, they are going to spawn in the right side. So we have Artemel here to clean that up. You can actually swap Melissa with Artemel here if you want to do a little bit more damage, but either or is fine, because a lot of the big bosses will spawn on the right hand side of the screen. But already halfway through stage 5 and we are crushing it. Draconic Charge is very huge on this stage as well. But like we mentioned, if we look at the damage numbers, Lima this time is doing a tremendous amount of damage. So I might actually put her in the middle, making sure she's also targeting the right side more effectively there. And you can see her already 3G increase with that little change, and 2 more waves until we have finished stage 5. Hang in there, we are crushing this very fast. Now they're only spawning on the top side. So like I mentioned before, make sure your skills are ready. Making sure when the boss comes out, you want to put your skills down and crush that stage. On to stage 6. Now this can be very annoying for a lot of players, so there might be some switching for stage 6 that might be necessary. However, you do want to start with Melissa obviously at the start of the top line and have her DPS the entire first half of this wave. And if the waves do go down, you then want to slot her in around here, making sure you're replacing all these units, maybe Sabrina about there, making sure Melissa is focusing on those targets coming through the middle, because those targets are very tanky. So Melissa should be taking that out relatively easily. Grogen is doing a great job at the top, making sure we're at bay and getting it down. Like you saw, those massive bosses will spawn in the bottom right area, so make sure Melissa is there. The top right should be fine. You could even go Artemel on the top left, making sure he is getting involved as well. Lima and Cassandra will be able to clean up, especially if more monsters come out on the bottom right side here. But already wave 8 now, Surface Blast is very crucial on this map as well. I would even go maybe swapping Melissa out to the top here. It's more spawning there. Notice the top Grogen is pretty struggling now. And like you mentioned, with the top area, Melissa is already there, taking out the targets. The boss will spawn there as well, so make sure Melissa is there. Could even go Rigel here, stripping that buff off straight away, but making sure you use those skills as soon as possible. And there you go for stage 6. Stage 7 is another one of those type of stages where it's not the hardest one possible, but it's not the easiest as well. But make sure you have the right cards within here, like Frozen Arrows, which will help a ton, deal as much damage as possible, especially with Melissa. As you can see, they are spawning on the right, so wherever they're spawning the most mobs out of, you want to put Melissa there, so she is dealing as much damage as possible, making sure all those mobs are taken out as soon as possible, because remember, these mobs will go all the way to the middle and take a bunch of damage from you, so you don't want that from happening. Hiss is another crucial one you want to have. Melissa, again, all the way down to the bottom. I do like Artemel, but Artemel will take care of the top, directly replacing her. Lima should be taken out as well, but I do have her highly invested, so don't rely on Lima just there. Have Melissa just to support, just in case they're getting through. But already stage 5 here, doing very well. Bottom right here, they should be spawning way more mobs. We have also Melissa. There you go. Look at the amount of damage that she does. It is so crucial to have her there. Could even go Sabrina here, just so that she's targeting the bottom right as well, making sure we're taking out these targets as soon as possible. You could put her at 1 tile below as well, but the boss is coming out soon, so make sure when the bosses come out, use your skills as soon as possible. We were prepared and we took out stage 7 easily. Now on to stage 8, another very difficult stage within chapter 19. However, Melissa and Jian being on the top front there, where the portals are going to help you tremendously, paired with great card selections like Hiss, Crystal Spear as well will help you a ton in here. But we are looking for Surface Blast if we can, because that, in my opinion, is the best card you want to aim for to crush through stage 8. But as of right now, we are getting through it without it. So Frozen Arrows, yet again, is high on the priority. So we want to make sure we are selecting that one. Along with Rigel, stripping all the buffs as well. If you're struggling with those big monsters like we just saw, we aren't getting any Surface Blast, but that is fine if you get a ton of Hiss. Frozen Arrows, I'll go for Frozen Arrows there. Why not slowing down all the enemies coming out of the portals? Now they won't spawn anywhere else. They will only spawn in the middle left area here, so please keep that in mind. your two melee units, being Melissa and Jan, will never have to swap unless they are coming past very, very fast. You want to swap Melissa wherever you're struggling at, just so you can take down those big bosses. However, we're relatively smashing through this very, very easily. As you mentioned here, one more wave and then the boss comes out. So we actually managed to do this without Surface Blast, which is pretty impressive, but making sure you have the skill ready, taking down stage 8. Moving on to stage 9, a pretty easy stage in my opinion. They will only spawn on the top area here, so you really want to focus Melissa wherever the portals are coming from. If there's a double portal on the left or right here, you just want to switch over Melissa and switch around all of your melee units like we mentioned here. Just swapping around Gian and Melissa will help you a ton in here, just so Melissa is targeting all 3 of those portals, which is a game changer. As you see, she's doing the most damage out of every single character within our formation. So if you don't have Melissa, this might be very, very hard for you to complete. However, Gian is also very good paired with Artemel, so those two can be your main DPS. If you don't have those, again, swap Melissa to the left side because more portals are on that side. And we are crushing through this so easily. Go hiss, just make sure that we can clear this stage very, very simply. Like we mentioned with Melissa, look at her damage, 14G damage already. Onto stage 6, nearly done with this one. If they get past, we have Sabrina and Lima to just clean up all the areas, swapping Melissa here with Jan, making sure she's doing that tremendous amount of damage on the front lines, making sure you have your skill ready. When the boss comes out, there they come, and there you go, on to the next stage. Now on to stage 10. It's getting pretty difficult now. As you can see, the front line are actually Lima and Sabrina. The reason being, I want these mobs to be targeted as soon as possible, making sure these two are getting all the mobs as low as possible. So we have Gian and Melissa to clean up, along with Rigel stripping any buff from the big monsters on the right hand side, making sure you select the perfect cards in here, because if you have bad card RNG, make sure to just retry the stage and jump straight back into it. Don't give up, you got this, okay? I hope this guide helps you crush all of the stages in here. Like we mentioned here, massive bosses that come out. This should be the perfect strategy. Lima, Melissa, and Rigel making sure the right side and all those big monsters are taken care of. But the left side here, as you can see, Sabrina should be able to take care of that on her own pretty much. As you can see with the damage, Lima and Sabrina being the top 2. Surface Blast will be your best friend in here, so make sure you pick Surface Blast as soon as you see it. Try to max it out as soon as possible. Nearly done here. On to wave 7, one more wave until we reach the boss. But as you mentioned here, even if you have Cassandra highly invested, look at her range. Absolutely phenomenal unit. There's the boss, making sure you have all your skills on there, and on to stage 11. Moving straight to stage 11, one of the most difficult stages in chapter 19, but don't worry, I'm here to coach you through it. Pay attention with this one because there are going to be a ton of swap and changes throughout this battle, but make sure you are always picking the right cards within here, because the cards will help you tremendously. Like his. You want to swap in Melissa in the middle area here, because now the portals are spawning enemies inside the middle area. Sabrina and Lima should be able to take care of the top area, so make sure you have Melissa here. I actually would put her a tile lower, making sure she's targeting all of these units that are coming out. Obviously, Sabrina is taking care of them as well if you're struggling. So synergizing these characters together will help you a ton. Making sure you have Sabrina and also Artemel on the bottom lines when the portals get to about the bottom right and bottom left areas. So you're always targeting a specific side. Like you said, have Gian actually in the bottom right area. I would even go Llama a tile further, right in the middle area as well, helping with the DPS, along with Sabrina, helping you take out these bottom areas as fast as possible. I would actually swap Melissa to the top. I know, there's a bunch of swaps in here, so you can slow the video down if you want, making sure you can get the correct swaps in. I would actually go Artemel in the top area now, making sure we have enough DPS as possible to take this out, and looking very easy when we have the skills on, making sure you spawn it right onto the boss, taking out stage 11 onto the final stage. Finally, on to the last stage of chapter 19. Now this is again another hard stage that you have to take out, but if you made it here, you are on to the final stage. Let's crush it together. Melissa should be able to take this out along with Artemel on the top left side. You want to swap Jian for Melissa, making sure Melissa is targeting both of these portals at the top right, along with Jian and Rigel stripping all the buffs that are necessary from those units spawning out. Melissa, yet again, look at the damage. 4.6, 4.7 G power damage already, which is insane for a melee trip. Definitely want to have her in. Swapping her back with Jian, you actually want to put Melissa on the left side here. There's a lot more mobs spawning on the outmost left side there, so make sure you are putting Melissa onto that tile along with Artemel. As you can see, Artemel is very underrated there, making sure all of those units spawning in those second portal are taking out very easy. I'll actually swap Melissa back for Artemel because I know a lot more mobs are spawning now inside the middle area. Picking Crystal Spear will help you a ton in the final stage of the chapter. Doing very well. Picking Web Mine, of course. Melissa, again, top right area. Wherever all the portals are, you want to have Melissa there as soon as you can. So, like we mentioned, nearly there, making sure we have our skills ready for the boss. Nearly done. Can we beat it? And there is chapter 19 completed. That wraps up the chapter 19 guide. I hope this video helps you dominate the entire chapter. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you were able to conquer chapter 19. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.